Now, the next topic is dating apps being out of fashion. Now, if you were in my live stream last week, I touched on this a little bit. We talked about like initiating romantic situations or whatever, and there was all conversation about what's the tactful way to do that, because men approach women in person and there's a lot of pressure, and sometimes you feel embarrassed, blah blah. Dating apps when they first came in kind of promised to be, oh, you can just find whatever it is you want. A lot of people are really busy 9 to 5, working from home, all that kind of stuff. So if you have this app that has everyone else on there, so instead of you going around trying to approach people in person, whereas you never have the time, or you're always working from home, whatever, just go on there. You can even filter by the specific ethnicities you want, height, or age. There's so many things that seemed like made a lot of sense about them. So a few years ago, I think it was 2020, dating apps reached their peak. Since that peak, Bumble and Match Group, which owns basically all the other dating apps, their stocks have hit record lows. I think Bumble's fallen 95% from their pandemic levels, which is their historic highs. In 2025, what does that say about the fact that everyone is wanting to do more in-person stuff? Before it was kind of like, as a guy, I'll be honest as well, it was kind of like you don't really want to approach women in person because you might end up in a Twitter thread. That's a joke all the guys used to make, but it's kind of true. Like, you never know if it's the right place, if the train is good. Why are you bothering me when I'm in the gym? Why are you approaching me when I'm on a busy train? Why are you approaching me when I'm trying to do my shopping? God knows what's going on. Now the consensus seems to be now like everyone wants to be approached in person. People are talking about, I just want an organic stuff, etc., etc. And you can see the quote I have with the dating app stuff. Going on a dating app is kind of symbolic with, or like, I guess simultaneous, if you want to say, with being desperate, or being like, oh, you're down bad, or like you're just bored and you're just like mucking around. So it seems like they're really out of fashion. And to me, again, there's an interesting social commentary there of what does that say about the moment we're in. They were in for a long time where people didn't really like this in-person interaction. Now they're completely off the other way, where more and more people are like, yeah, this is nonsense, I don't find anyone on there, everyone's on serious, blah blah. What does that say about how men and women are viewing romantic situations now? Why is everyone preferring the more in-person organic approach? That's to me something worth exploring, because imagine a kind of situation where in 2026 a lot of these apps start to go bankrupt and people basically just don't use them anymore. So history's kind of repeating itself, where we're going back to like the pre-internet age where people didn't have dating apps and everything had to be done organically. That's kind of interesting. The more things change, the more they stay the same. What do you guys think? Again, if you found that interesting, wanted to talk more about that, have some genuine specific things, opinions about it, I want to hear from you. Like, what are your thoughts? You don't have to tell me about what the societal thing is. Why did you stop using dating apps? Why are you still using them now? Why did you start using them, etc., etc.?